There are many dates in a lifetime that you're going to remember. The date your children are born, the date you're married, the date you buy a first house, the date Abby and Libby went missing. One of those dates was last Friday, October 28, 2022. At that time, we had gathered evidence, and the judge did find probable cause for an arrest of Richard Allen. This investigation is far from complete.
As Mr. Allen is now without counsel, I've ordered him transported back to the Department of Correction. Obviously, without counsel, Mr. Allen's hearing cannot proceed.
What's your reaction to the fact that his counsel withdrew and he wasn't even in court today?
Very disappointed. It doesn't seem to be much of a surprise.
I cannot believe this case, the way it's devolved. It was difficult enough for Abby and Libby trying to get justice for these two young girls in solving the case. It took more than 5 years to arrest and charge someone who, like, on the second day of the investigation, they knew was there, and they never followed up on it. It's unreal. But now Richard Allen has been charged, and his trial, he's asking for a speedy trial. He wants his trial, claiming his innocence, saying it's the Odinist that did it. He's getting his speedy trial May 13th. It will begin. Obviously, we'll be covering it. But what about the contempt hearing for his lawyers who've been reinstated? Well, is that going to happen beforehand? Take a look up on the screen. Those attorneys now are saying the prosecutor needs to recuse himself from the contempt proceedings if they felt that this is unreal. What they're saying is that they waited and waited and waited. This is for conduct that took place before, and now they're saying that the prosecutor should be recused from this. Who else do they want recused from the contempt hearing? The judge. The court previously not only criticized the same defense attorneys for the same conduct now alleged by the state to be contemptuous, it also coerced them into withdrawing their representation of Mr. Allen for that conduct. The court cannot appear to be neutral and detached arbiter of the state's contempt allegations, and accordingly, the court should recuse itself from all of this. In the meantime, the defense has also asked for all of this just to be stayed until after the trial. This is just a distraction for everyone from preparation for a trial now 61 days away. It is also a disservice to the families involved. In short, the court and the attorneys need to get back to the critical issues to stop the diversionary filings. We have a trial. It's beginning on May 13th, but we've got a hearing on these added charges and contempt claim on March 18th. What's going on in Indiana? Let's bring back in our think tank. What is this?
It's predictably unpredictable. It's confusing to me. It's confusing to the court. But why not? Why wouldn't a judge recuse herself and let another judge hear it? Easy.
Do we really need to take care of this contempt hearing before this trial?
Unless the punishment for contempt is you cannot represent this defendant, no. Because if they're just going to be sanctioned and the lawyer's going to be slapped with a fine or pay some fees, no, do that later. It's a distraction.
Can't you lock someone up for contempt?
You can. Yeah, we can do that later, too.
So what happens if they have this contempt hearing before the trial and they're preparing for this trial and they put the lawyers in jail for a few days?
Okay, some diehard defense lawyers have to experience this every once in a while, and you purge the contempt by paying a fine and you get out. So it happens. But no, this can wait till later. I find it highly suspicious that a higher court has said, Judge, you need to recuse yourself. The judge says no and is calling in the defense again to criticize them when she should probably just hand it off to somebody else and proceed with trial.
Do it now. Get the contempt over with, because when and if he goes to trial, and if he is convicted, not the Odinist, but him, then he has another grounds for appeal because his attorneys were ineffective, because they couldn't be effective. They were so fearful of what was going to happen on that contempt. Get it done. Get it over with. Put it behind you.
It's so complicated right now. So as we head towards this trial, which is going to happen May 13th, do you expect the defense, the original attorneys back on, to go full pedal to the metal with the Odinist defense here.
Absolutely.
That it was a ritualistic killing, and we know exactly who is responsible because they pointed fingers at specific people.
Absolutely. I am obsessed with this case and cannot wait, and I'm so glad that they are invoking speedy trial, which strategically is genius. I've done it in a few trials, and they're basically saying to the state, get ready, we're ready. I think that their theory is cohesive. I think they have credible, cogent evidence. It's going to be shocking. I think it is entirely based on odinistic ritual, which I really didn't know much about, but since the inception of the Richard Allen case, I have learned so much by virtue of his jailers, those working in the sheriff's office, things that were apparently left at the scene, and we only have much more to learn. It's going to be fascinating.
What are we going to see? The way we're looking at Richard Allen, who looked so healthy when he was first arrested, and now he's emaciated. Will he live long enough to see his trial?
You want a speedy trial when the other side doesn't want it, right? That's the biggest, when the judge is putting it off and the prosecution is not pushing it, they don't feel strong enough about their case. That's when you want to go forward.
Well, and that's what confuses me here is this guy told someone that he was there on the bridge that day, right? The times have changed depending upon which affidavit you read, but the bottom line is he should have been fully investigated 5 years ago, and it just kind of sat on the bottom of a stack of paper somewhere. I don't understand that. It's very confusing to me, but this trial is happening, and we will be covering it.